This week on Game All Night, I'm joined by Patrick Kelly of Blue Peg, Pink Peg. This week and every week, we're brought to you by Game Toppers. Upgrade your gaming experience.
Welcome to Game All Night.
Well, hello and welcome to another Game All Night. I tonight am joined by Patrick Kelly in a few minutes, but at the moment, Dan is back from vacation. He is finally resumed his duties. He's been sorely missed down here in the GAN studios, I will say. So
throat a little parched in my absence, a little.
It is. I kind of feel like, you ever see those musicians who play every instrument? I kind of feel like that a little bit. I'm kind of like I'm jamming the cymbals with my butt, and I'm kind of, you're playing on a ukulele.
Like at the beginning of Mary Poppins.
Got to bob my head for another set of tambourine. It's just not pretty. It's not pretty. How have you been, sir?
Doing all right. Recharged the batteries on vacation and ready to get back to it.
Excellent. What are you drinking, fair sir?
Well, I am drinking the bounty of your recent journey to the Great North, as I am drinking some of Lawson's Sip of Sunshine, which we don't see all the time around here, and it's a wonderful treat.
Yeah, I got to take a little trip up to Maine and Vermont, and I had to stop at some breweries. I got some of the Lawson's, and my personal all-time number one is the Second Fiddle by Fiddlehead, my Dippa, as they like to call it up north. I like my little Dippa. So
very cool.
Quite tasty.
Very cool. Now,
awesome.
Since I've established a trend asking about solo games before of hitting you with questions where your answer is no interest. I was curious recently. There's some Gen Con news came across my radar that made me ask: have you ever played Magic the Gathering? Were you ever drawn into the magnet circle there?
No, I have not. Magic, it looks interesting. I like watching Spell Slingers, and I know we've referenced that with Pep on the show in the past, and it looks interesting, but I don't know if I can get into the money suck. I might be up for the single dual decks though. Yeah,
the dual decks are a way to go. I'm a big Cube fan, where there's a one-time investment, and I've put that in, and then after that, you just play that as if it were straight out of the box that way. You just play a format that's already self-contained. Right. Richard Garfield has a new game, Keyforge, that sparked my my question, because it sounds like that's a new spin on how to that model. They're not doing traditional booster backs, but still a similar dueling game. So
interesting. Well, maybe we'll check that out the next time we get stood up for a recording. I think that might work. Well, we've kept our guests sitting in the green/blue room long enough. So, hello, Mr. Patrick Kelly. How are you doing today?
It's a pleasure to be here.
It's excellent to have you on the show, and thank you for wearing the official uniform tonight, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
We got to have our plaid club shirts. Dan didn't get the memo.
Yeah, good job, Dan. Great.
I'm in uniform, so it's different here.
This is true. So, how have you been, sir? How are things?
I've been all right. Got my. I'm alone right now. My compatriots are at Gen Con as we speak, enjoying themselves. And I don't have any. My main gaming partners are kind of out of the loop. I will be getting together with Jeremy in a couple of days to play some games, and just kind of plugging along, doing a little housework. Kind of getting the jump on some stuff at work. Playing a few games with my son.
Cool.
Doing all right.
No complaints. Well, that's why I figured I'd reach out to you, because we're recording this as the Gen Canters of the East Coast. I was able to go last year. That's actually where I ran into you, albeit very briefly.
Yes, that's true.
Yep, we kind of did this at the Secret Cabal meetup.
Yes. That's the way it is. Most interactions at the Secret Cabal meetup are like passing interactions. And I remember that, I think at that meetup was the one where the bathrooms were a big problem, right? And so I remember, that was the one night that I got something to drink. Before that meetup, oh my gosh, before that meetup, we'd had our annual meeting of the various original pegs, and we had gone to this place that had Long Island iced teas of all sorts of different types, like crazy flavors. It was this total chucklehead place, and we all had multiple Long Island iced teas, and so the point of all this is I spent a big part of the Secret Cabal meetup trying to find bathrooms. And I think there was a Hardee's across the way that eventually ended up locking its doors to
Arby's,
us.
yeah.
It was Arby's because everybody kept going in there to use the restroom. And that was me.
Rob was smoking a cigar, and you just kind of breezed by. And Jeremy was there, too. It was.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah. It was just
nice,
and
it's funny. I saw some pictures of Rob and Christina and from today, and they were drinking out of some giant glass not pitcher, but like your grandma has. What are those things called? A punch bowl.
A punch bowl. Okay.
Punch bowl. And it was full of some sort of alcoholic beverage. I saw this tweet at like 1:00 in the afternoon, and I know there was a lot of drinking that took place at Origins. I wasn't there again this year. And my point of all this is, I think we might have a problem. I think it's time for our show to have a little bit of an intervention. Tonight, I'm drinking water because of the fact that I was so troubled by this recognition that I was like, you know what? I think I might want to take a little break.
Yeah, I may have seen Rob and Christina for a good chunk of time during the our bourbon night meetup, actually, that we had. Yeah, so that was continuing the theme again. Well, when you don't have to drive anywhere for a week at a shot.
Yeah, what are you gonna do? Well, it's interesting. I do not drink bourbon. This is not everybody who gives us bourbon, super awesome. We've gotten a ton.
Rob's
of bourbon.
happy.
Rob's very happy. The story behind me not drinking bourbon is actually kind of an interesting one. So I went to school in Southern Indiana, and right across the river from Kentucky. So bourbon was what we drank all the time in college. It was just, the guys, we lived in this house. I lived in a house with 5 other guys, blah, blah, blah. Well, so it's my bachelor party. All my buddies are out in LA now. They all live in LA. Mm-hmm. And it was my bachelor's party. So they all flew me out to LA, and we went up to San Padres, and we camped and blah, blah, blah. And the big kind of festival night, we drank a ton of really, really good bourbon. And I mean, I got the drunkest I've ever been in my life, the drunkest I will ever be in my life. And then to boot, we are all like crazy, just like, drunk and, totally like, I love you, man. I love you. And then like at about 11 o'clock at night, right up, we hear this heavy metal thumbing, and all these cars start coming up. And there was this group of neo-Nazis. I mean, like legitimate ones. Like I'm not using that in a hyperbolic way. They were legitimately a gathering of these skinheads that were getting together to camp, and they just started pulling out like boxes and boxes and boxes of beer and cans, like giant, like 50 boxes, and I'm not exaggerating, 50 boxes of canned beans and other things. They apparently had a plan to be here for months. And then they start drinking and playing their heavy metal music. Dog fights start breaking out. Guys start beating each other up. All the while, we're like really, really drunk, sobering up rapidly. The minute 3 of us were like stone cold sober, we're out of here. We load all our crap into the car, drive down through the mountains before the sun comes up. And the point of all this is I don't drink bourbon anymore because of that.
Well, I think you have some American History X associations with it, and I totally get that.
Yeah.
I don't think I would drink bourbon either.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, beyond the fact that I was also like really, really drunk. But it just like the associations with it, I don't know. I cannot drink bourbon anymore.
Yeah, I have the same thing with Absolute Citron. It kind of, we were playing tequila pool with it, and 14 shots of Citron in an hour will that'll make for very unhappy endings. So I think everybody's got that one, right? They've got that story. But I think the moral of your story is, you don't necessarily need a designated driver. You need a designated escape driver.
Yeah, it was. There's much more to this story than I've told, but it was crazy. I mean, because the thing is, these were all my theater buddies, So we're all actors and like really, really, super in touch with our emotional core, and like so, like there's this like all of us crying, and I love you, man, and then this was like within 3 hours, this was going on. We're like. There was no greater, like, sort of disconnect between us and the people that were camping next to us. It was pretty bizarre.
Wow. Definitely a juxtaposition. A little scary.
Yeah. Oh, it was horrifying.
So you were, you definitely, do you still act? Are you active in any troops or anything?
Well, let's see. The last show I was in 6 Characters in Search of an Author.
Okay.
Like 3 or 4 years ago. That's the last
so it's
play.
not too far.
Yeah. I've got kids who are now all in high school, and so it's like I took a break because of just the demands of parenting. To be at rehearsals for every night for a month and a half. It's a little bit tough. It wasn't quite fair to the kids for me to be out of the house that much. So I've taken a little break until but now they're old enough. I can probably do it again.
All right. So the reason I ask is because I've found myself running into different types of people and how they use acting, especially when they spend their time in, say, the public life, like we're doing right now, right? I mean, we're putting stuff out there. If I had pissed off somebody in my future life, they could find me very easily right now. It's not like this is the witness protection program or anything here. So
yeah, that's true.
One of the theories I've come across is that the people want to actually, a media figure, podcaster, YouTuber, whoever, they want to create this persona that's kind of here. And this is my on-stage persona, but that's really kind of not the person I am. Like, they're two different things. Like, they actually create a character for whatever they're doing, but then the actual person, they really are trying to keep private into themselves. Yeah. So I'm just wondering, do you think that something like that's healthy? Do you think that we should maybe take a lesson from that? Because, I mean, a lot of us do just kind of put it all out there and see what happens. And, I found that conversation very interesting. I don't know if I could ever get this person on in the future, because I'd love to have the conversation from that point of view as well. But what do you think?
Well, I mean, for me, I can kind of see what you're alluding to, but for me, I don't have a lot in the way of filters.
True. Anybody who listens to your show should know that.
yeah. When it comes to sort of doing that, and my position is I'm pretty authentic about the person that I am, the experiences that I have. Now, there's a lot of parts of my life that I may hold secret to myself because of out of respect for other people that may be involved in that, right?
Sure.
And so those parts I will keep boundaries for those purposes. But I kind of think if I start with myself as a core, as the persona that I'm projecting, then I will kind of build upon that.
Okay.
And there's kind of, I think the sense that we kind of put out is like it's us, but maybe us exaggerated, or us kind of to an extreme in some ways. But for us, because of the fact that we're engaging with each other so much, we sort of we were pretty authentic about our response and reaction to one another, to the things that we see in the community. And it's interesting because you say if someone could find you, I've lived a lot of interesting phases in my life. And one of the things that I did was I was a therapist for 5 years, and a therapist at a psychiatric facility and for juveniles. And there are some kids who were in that facility who hated me, who, I mean, abhorred me. And they were horribly unbalanced human beings. And they're out, like they're in the world now. And I've never really thought about the fact that they could easily know who I am because of that. I don't think any of them would, and I don't think that there would ever be any kind of experience of that sort. But it is kind of weird that that anonymity, if I'm saying the word correctly, it doesn't exist for us because we put ourselves out there. And a lot about our lives and where we are and who we are. But that's, I don't know, it's a choice that we make. And, we hold back the parts of ourselves, I think, that are important for us to preserve. We have to have our own private lives, I suppose. But, it's just kind of the way that we've always sort of approached this, is from a point of view of, creating a community. And part of that means sort of opening yourself up to people.
Right. Right. And I think it's, you alluded to it earlier, the parts you keep to yourself, because one of the things I found very, very interesting about your show is, how it's evolved and had to adapt to different things throughout the years. And, when you've been open but not public at the same time, I think, you kind of walk that line on a personal level. And I think that's very interesting. Have you ever gotten any feedback or anything maybe that gave somebody permission to discuss a topic that they might not have otherwise discussed because of that openness, do you think?
Oh, no. Yeah. I've had long conversations with many of our listeners about very private and personal things, and, obviously I preserve their confidentiality. And people have come to me looking for support during difficult times of their lives, and I've engaged in exchanges with them, either via the phone, via email, otherwise. And then some people have reached out to me during times when I was dealing with some difficult stuff and provided support, and and to some degree I've honored that by kind of taking them up on that, and sort of showing appreciation for the fact that they're trying to be supportive of the experience that I have. No, I mean, I've had a lot of, I could count 10, 20 different listeners that I've had different kind of interactions with that were pretty intense and pretty meaningful. And that's great. I count these people as friends.
Sure.
When I see them, we really have a great time sharing each other's company. And, my natural inclination is in the world is I'm here to help other people whenever I can, and I don't have a lot of money. I don't have a lot of resources that I can give to other people, but I do have my humanity, and I'm always willing to give as much of that as I feel like I can, in order to kind of lift somebody else up if the opportunity presents itself. I never really kind of ask myself, am I opening myself up too much? Is this person going to, take advantage of this? Am I whatever? And I've never had a problem where that was a problem. Now, that said, because I have a background in mental health and because I'm an attorney,
right.
A big part of doing that is knowing how to set and establish boundaries. So I kind of open myself up with an awareness of the fact that, I have to be prepared to set those boundaries if I need to. But I've never really had a need to do that. I've found that most people I've spoken with have been very respectful, really great people. As I said, I count most of them, if not all of them, as friends,
right.
And would happily spend time with any of them because they're good people, So yeah, I have no regrets in that regard.
No, it's definitely interesting. You, I thought it was kind of amazing because the community of podcasters and everything was welcoming long before I ever did anything. It's always like you always feel like you're an insider, even though you might not be, just because you're a listener. I think that feeling kind of permeates. But then when I started creating content, like, some people are very like, oh, that's competition, whatever. And then other people are very open and, hey, this is really cool. How can I help? And, you guys were certainly, some of the first people knocking down the door to try and help. Like you and the Cabal guys really were very supportive. And I was able to bounce a lot of things off of everybody very early on to kind of get a feel. And it was, and you still help. We actually just had a nice long email exchange about some other stuff that we're looking at. Yeah. And, like you say, it's like, does $5 a month show up in a pod pledge somewhere? It doesn't need to. It's information can be worth way more in the end, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important.
Yeah, that's my philosophy. I want to always help people out. And there are people, I should say, like there may be people I've been in exchange with who have reached out to me, and I may not have gotten back to them recently because I got a lot going on right now.
Sure.
But I'll always circle back around and try to help out anybody that I can. Anything I can do. And I never think of competition. I don't care. I mean, this is what we do for fun, and I'm not making my living off of this. And even if I was, I don't think I'd care anyways. But
right.
The fact is that, if ever there's anybody who is out there wanting to create something, my philosophy is, if I can help you in any way, if I can lend any kind of assistance, I'll do it. Because I'm an advocate of the creative arts. Like, if somebody has an inclination to put themselves out there and try to make something, then I'll try to do whatever I can to assist that, and I mean, right. At the end of the day, there's not a lot I can contribute. I don't think I'm much in the way of a resource, but I'll do what I can.
I would beg to differ. I think, given how many episodes you guys have had, the attention to quality detail, you've had to source replacement pegs twice now. You still managed to keep a large presence. I mean, you're the one who pretty much runs the Blue Peg, Pink Peg Twitter. I mean, I would argue that you know a heck of a lot as somebody who's started out and is learning all this side. I mean, the technical stuff almost seems easy now, even though that was like the biggest hurdle. Now it's like, wow, there's so much more. Like, you have to put a thing out there, that's great, but then you have to let other people know, and you have to make it worth views. There's so much to it. So
a lot.
Don't sell yourself short.
That's kind of you to say, but I mean, it's like, it's a phrase that I've seen a lot of pop up a lot within the community is imposter syndrome. A lot of people, right. That's kind of been a bit of a catchphrase I've seen a lot of recently. And I mean, we all suffer from that a little bit, but for me, it's sort of a question of, we're all just kind of making it up as we go. Right. We're establishing whatever expertise we have on the fly. And yeah, I mean, we've been doing our show now for, I think we just had our 5th anniversary, our 5-year anniversary. 5 years.
It's crazy. I barely held a job that long.
Really, really a long time to be doing this stuff. So I mean, yeah, we've definitely been doing it for a long time. And I imagine you learn some stuff through the process, but it's changing too. That's the other thing. Like there's a lot of changes in the ways that it works since we first started doing this.
Sure.
And we're still learning bit by bit.
Cool. Well, I definitely enjoyed listening to it, if nothing else. So There's that. But I think this is a great point to pause for a conversation and take a quick commercial break. So we're going to do that. And then we will be right back after this. right, welcome back. Hopefully that commercial was informative and funny, witty, and everything
Remarkable.
you've come to expect, right? I think a triumph almost, as it were.
Indeed. I'm still recovering from it. As a matter of fact, it was a powerful experience.
It was. You know, we're taking a whole new direction now, and it's pretty dramatic, I think.
I know. I was impressed. It's like this is us.
You're creating a lot of work for me here now. Like, man, now I got to come up with something. All right. Well, welcome back, Patrick. Thank you for joining us again. So Patrick's from Blue Peg, Pink Peg, if you didn't hear me the first time around. And one of the things you guys are known for, and be it as it may, you definitely love to do the music interludes and the bumpers, and you source a lot of music for that. And you've been doing this for 5 years.
That's right. And as far as I know, no duplicates. I keep a running record of everything. And because the way that it works is, we looked at it early on. I spoke to a couple of copyright lawyers, and because I really wanted to include music in the show, because I love music. I'm a big audiophile, and have a huge collection of music, and I really wanted to kind of highlight music I like. And so what we started doing was we used the bumpers, and then at the end of the episode, I talk about either music theory that is involved in the thing, the historical context of the segment that I've played, kind of why a particular sort of thing works, like what's going on, what's the time signature, whatever, I make commentary about the segments that we select. And obviously the segments are thematically tied into the episode as well. But yeah, I've really enjoyed doing that over the years. It is a lot of work to kind of pull all that, because obviously I don't know this stuff off the top of my head. I have to go and read a bunch of articles and stuff in order to kind of become familiar with it. And we do that so that we can do so without having to pay licensing fees for that stuff. So it's fair use under U.S. copyright law. Because it's not just, a lot of people think, well, if I credit it and if the segment I use is real short, then I'm okay. Well, that's not the way it works. You
have like 15-second sampling, and that's it, right?
Yeah, and even if you like have a really short segment and you don't otherwise satisfy the requirements of the fair use exception, because in order for it to be fair use, you have to make it so that you're commentating about the subject matter, right? And the whole reason we do that is not just so we can be protected legally, but also because that's the whole reason I use the bumpers, is because I want to provide commentary. I want to talk about music, but we're probably going to be moving away from that. We're looking at sort of doing some different things with the show. And we recently went out and decided that we were going to commission an artist to compose a theme song, some bumpers, a few other things for the show. And we put out a call, listened to a whole bunch of different artists who were interested, and finally retained this funk band. They're awesome. The music that they're producing for us is incredible. We just love it. And there's reasons that we're doing that that I won't get into now. But the point is that we're kind of excited about doing that. But I am a little sad to let go of the bumpers, because it was one of the passion projects in the show for me that I really loved. And I know it's something that kind of distinguishes our show, but we just decided we wanted to do something different. And another part of the reason is because while what we do is completely above board legally, the EU has new rules that relate to protection of intellectual property. Really? And so I expect that soon, once these new protocols come into play, I think we probably won't be able to be on European users won't be able to download our stuff if we don't fix this. Yeah, so
interesting, because you're like one of the first podcasts I ever came across that actually used real music. If I can use that term without making everybody else seem like it's fake music. It's not
No,
the
no, no.
intention,
Well,
but copyrighted, produced, distributed music, right?
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, and again, it was a choice that we made. Again,
Sure.
I went into it like I'm lucky in that one of my very, very good friends is one of the better copyright lawyers in the nation, and he kind of, I talked to him, and he sort of gave me some advice about how we could be sure that we would do it. The reason that you don't see that is because it's perilous, you know.
Sure.
You could get a takedown notice, and I mean, to be quite honest with you, if we ever got a takedown notice, we'd probably comply rather than defend, because fair use is an affirmative defense. It's not an element of the charge, and so we would bear the burden of proving that applies.
Makes sense.
And so we don't want to get caught up in that.
And besides that, it would probably only be one episode, as opposed to, like, say, if you use the same music in multiple, then you'd have to deal with all those. So it's not like you could pull it down, re-edit it, cut it in, and put it back out. It's not like
ASCAP would probably hit us for everything, actually. But if it came to that, and I mean, it should be said that the intro music and the outro music that we use, we do have express permission to use that.
Right.
Like the artist that created that, Skahuvi and the Epitones, gave us permission to use those songs for our intro and outro.
Which is pretty awesome, because I thought, that's pretty commercially viable stuff, and it's pretty singularly excellent for what you guys do.
Yeah. I mean, and look, we appreciate the fact they did that for us, but we've kind of used it for a while, and I hope that they've received some benefit from it as well.
Sure.
But we kind of want to move into a new direction.
Yeah, I mean, it hits that point. I can't imagine, while it is fun, I'm sure it's also very time consuming too, to curate all that and to keep a grip on that.
It is. During recordings of the episode, I'm always making notes, kind of thinking while we're recording about, okay, what's a song that I know that I really like that would key into this. Like, so it's a, and then very often I can't think of it at the time, so I have to go back and listen to the segment and then listen for stuff to be able to pull in. And it's time consuming. I mean, it usually takes a few hours for me to pull the bumpers.
Wow. And I would argue that it's effective and very, very eclectic. Your music taste is all over the map as far as what you like, which is pretty interesting.
I do like everything. I have a pretty diverse. I'm not a big fan of. I'm not a big fan of like contemporary rap, mumble rap. Like my kids, as I said, I've got an almost 16-year-old and almost 14-year-old, and they listen to like Gucci Mane and all these other like popular rap artists. And like I cannot get into that stuff. That I can't handle.
Yeah, but the difference here is I'm old man, get off my lawn. I don't want to hear that junk. Whereas I can imagine that you are more of a person who listened to it with a discerning ear and said, you know what, this just isn't for me. This is not lemonade I like to drink.
Yeah, that's true. Now, Lemonade. Now, Beyonce. That's a great album. Great album. But no. So it's kind of funny. My kids listen to this music, and I'm a First Amendment absolutist. I come from an artistic background. I love the arts, and so for my kids, they listen to this stuff that's like hardcore.
Okay.
And my philosophy is, you guys are allowed to listen to it. That's fine. However, if it's playing, I'll listen to the lyrics as it plays. And if you aren't willing and able to talk to me about the subject matter, then you can't listen to it. So as a result, like, I'm like, oh, okay. Do you know what X, Y, and Z is, son? And my son's like, I'm not going to listen to that anymore. I don't want to talk about, so I will never stop again, because the price of admission is too high, But the other side of that is that, I mean, I've had
watch Game All Night and get great parenting tips at the same time. I love it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'll say this in all seriousness. like, you know, the big issue that I have with the music that my son listens to in particular is it doesn't have positive attitudes about women. And so like we have to, like, whenever we listen to a song that has like misogynistic stuff in it, I'm like having to talk to I'm like, you know what? We're going to talk about this. I want you to understand, like, you know, I get this as art and I get this as somebody's expression of their experience. And I'm not going to censor it. I'm not going to prohibit you from listening to it. But I want you to kind of talk to me about, like, you know, why is that inappropriate? Like, why is that not a way you want to be interacting with women? Why is that not a way that you want to be relating to people? You know, and, you know, I don't know. It's just like I always use everything as a tool for engaging in some sort of discussions with my kids about the subject matter. And my thinking is if I limit their access to stuff, and if I shut the doors to them being able to explore those things, then I'm shutting off opportunities for me to engage with them about things that matter, you know, and it shuts off opportunities for me to, and I mean, don't get me wrong, like, you know, my son in particular, you know, like there's a lot of stuff that he's like, Dad, I am not cool with talking about this. You are a weird dude, and you're weirding me out. But you know, I don't know. I want to be able to be involved in conversation with my kids. So, you know, I'm cool with that.
No, I think it's hugely important, and I think, you know, in today's day and age, you know, from what I can see, I'm not a parent, I can't speak to that, but it seems like engagement is one of the biggest things that parents today are struggling with, is like trying to find, because they're competing with like activities and screens and friends. I mean, we've always competed with music, but you know, now it has different tones and potentials than it had in the past. So I think anytime you can kind of create dynamic moments out of that, I think that's where it lies, right?
Yeah, I mean, I hope. I don't know. I mean, look, don't get me wrong. Like my kids, I've screwed up with my kids a ton. You know, I have made all the mistakes, you know, but you got to keep plugging with them, you know, and just showing up is a big part of parenting. And sometimes that's the hardest part of parenting, you know. With my kids, I confess there are times when I'm like, you know what, I am not in the mood. My son's on Fortnite, and I realize that I should probably be dealing with him and talking to him, but honestly, I'm exhausted. So I'm just going to let him do Fortnite for that extra hour when I probably shouldn't allow that. You know, I do that all the time, but, you know, I try to have awareness of it and try to, again, you know, engage with my kids whenever I can.
No, I think that's absolutely key. So It sounds like you have a lot of time tied up in all these things. What do you do for the Patrick me time when you need to go escape? Like you have to have outlets here, and I assume gaming is the obvious choice. So what are some of the other things that kind of keep you grounded and rooted and sane?
Yeah. Well, you know, I write a lot. I've always written, and just everything. And then I do a lot of art. My son and I are into screen printing. Cool. We'll make designs, and we have a little, you know, a 4-color press that we make stuff out of. So I do that occasionally. I used to hike a lot, but, you know, I think I talked about it on my show a while back. I was recently diagnosed with a congenital heart defect.
Always fun.
It sucks. And I'm not allowed to get my pulse elevated at all. Like I can't get my pulse up until they figure out exactly what they want to do and figure out how they're going to repair it. I mean, at some point I'm probably going to have heart surgery soon. I mean, I'm in the middle of kind of getting that all dealt with right now. But it used to be that I hiked a lot, got out in nature, and I can't do that right now for the time being. I'll get back to it eventually.
Right. Not good to be out in the woods by yourself right now. That's not a good plan.
Yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate because I was getting ready to get back. I used to be a whitewater kayaker. Okay. Pretty heavy duty because I lived in North Georgia and we have pretty good rivers out there. And so I was going to get back into that. I stopped because of the kids and just the time commitment that they required. But I was getting to a place where I was going to be able to get back into it, and I was going to get back into that. But that's kind of been tabled for a while. But anyways, I don't know. The shows, games are a big part of. I mean, my main outlet is gaming, right?
Right.
But other stuff, I do like art. I do like being in the outdoors.
And obviously, being a creative is definitely in your genes. I don't think one could stop you from doing that.
No. I'll always be creating something.
Yeah, it's one of those things that sucks about getting older. Is like we want to go do activity and things like that, but then I don't know, something about health related stuff can just crop up out of nowhere and say, oh yeah, remember that thing you wanted to do? No, can't do that. Nope.
Yeah, and it's weird because I mean, and the thing is, like my doctors tell me, like I'm otherwise incredibly healthy. Like I'm in
right.
good shape. My cholesterol's a little high, but not too bad. But other than that, I've got all my good vitals. It's just and like in day to day, my heart's fine. It's just when it gets exerted, it starts doing weird stuff. And they're just, until they can figure out what to do about it, they don't want to. I mean, I've lived with this for 45 years. I used to run triathlons. I ran a lot for years and years and years. I probably run in 50 races in my life. So it's a little weird for me to kind of have to stop doing all that stuff. I'll say this, it's been 3 months since I've done this. I've put on some weight, and that sucks. I hate that. Like, it is bumming me out big time.
Yeah, it does. It's kind of amazing that you have the desire, you have the will, you have the means, and it's just this one thing is holding you back and keeping you from like just running out there. But I'm glad you found it when you did, so that it didn't turn into a bigger problem and things. Because that can be a nasty thing if it's left undiagnosed, unfortunately.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I mean, I've been lucky. I'm not complaining. It's just, I mean, I'll be honest with you, I'm a little frustrated right now because of the fact that they've got me on all these referrals, and I'm waiting to hear back from everybody. And it was like an emergency, and everybody was like, it was crisis, and then they figured out I wasn't going to die, and so immediately, and now they're just like, whatever.
Yeah,
so I'm
triage,
kind of like,
love it.
I kind of want to, I know. I kind of want to get this taken care of. It's a little more important to me than it is to my doctors.
Absolutely.
So I'm inspired, actually. You guys were talking earlier about, ways that as content creators, you, Patrick, contribute to the, mental health and some of your viewership. And I think here's where I fit in. My part can be helping people be at peace with weight gain. Just coming to grips and learning to accept it, embrace the heavier you. This is my niche in the mental health world.
I have a feeling though that you're not alone in being comfortable with weight gain. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
I think that
it's rough, man. Being old is a bummer. It is a serious bummer.
I was all set to get back into shape. I went to a CrossFit class. I went like 2 times and pulled a hernia. Like, lifting tires apparently at 46 is not the best idea. So
okay. So I got one for you.
Okay.
Oh, now it's all we need a young guy on the staff.
Young guy? I was at the Dice Tower Con, and we were playing Cash and Guns.
Okay.
I got my 3rd bullet, so I decided to role play a little bit. Fall off the chair like I was shot. Dislocated a rib.
What?
Yes.
Board gaming injuries are real.
I had to go to the chiropractor.
Oh.
Board game injury.
Nice.
Really serious.
Nice.
Well,
not just repetitive stress syndrome.
I've talked about this before. Like, I have injured myself in some of the craziest. I've never injured myself playing a board game, but once I was in the shower, and it was in college, and it was those public showers where you had a private shower, but there were people walking by, and somebody came by and yelled at me something, and I turned around to like see what was going on, And I slipped, and I fell in the shower, and to keep myself from hitting the ground, I remember reflectively I stick my leg out, and I slam my foot up against the side of the shower, and I shatter the bones that connect my big toe to my foot on my left foot. I had to go have like a piece of plastic put in. Wow. But I mean, I'm the only person I know of who had to have surgery because of an injury that I incurred while showering. You know,
so do you now have to have like the little tape on rubber ducks in the bottom of your bathtub now, just so you won't do that?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, for sure.
You know what? That's an untapped market for podcaster swag. It could be, like the Piranha Pig could be like sticky shower Piranha Pigs.
Well, we always have talked about wanting to have we've got our jar openers.
Love it. Have it upstairs.
Jar openers. And so we're about out of those. And I was thinking we're kind of in the market for some sort of bizarre form of promotional merchandise. And if we could come up with a way of getting shower stickers, like little adhesive, with the ones that create a lower coefficient of friction.
There you go.
And put those in the shower, I'd be down for that. I'd be totally down for that. God, I don't know. I really would love to come up with some, I always want to have some sort of weird sort of promotional thing that people can use, like our jar openers,
that's a great one. It's just
they're just bizarre, and they'd always be, and our routine now is that we always take them and we put them in bathrooms at all the cons, right?
The secret bathrooms, yes.
The secret bathrooms, right? And so it's that one thing that we'll always be putting in our bathrooms, and maybe it'll be a shower thing, maybe it'll be a door hanger. I don't know, but I do think once we run out of our jar openers, we definitely need to get something else that'll be fun.
You need something weird and obscure for sure.
Yeah.
So we'll put that out to the community to come up with something that's easily transportable, not heavy, and is very signature, I guess, is a good way to put it.
Yeah. Exactly. And but just the most you gotta the
mundane,
more sort of
mundane
and bizarre, the better. Like battery chargers.
Trivets. I think trivets would be a natural progression.
Trivets. Yeah, I mean trivets are good. Yeah, like pot holders. Yeah.
Pot holder. Oh, I think a pot holder. Well, see, I think you go crazy and you have the Piranha Pig shaped pot holder, but then you could also do normal ones too. Maybe one blue, one pink, and you get the set.
Yeah.
I'd buy that.
Well, actually, we're working on. So we're getting our merch going. I'm working on some T-shirts right now that we're going to be putting on a store. And we've got. I don't know how I'm going to use it, but I'm designing. We've got specific. They're it's modeled on the Sex Pistols kind of. Thanks for the Bollocks. That album cover. It's kind of got this punk rocky feel to it, kind of retro look. And it's one, they're themed for each of the pegs. Each of the pegs have their own. I posted some mock-ups of them, but I've actually changed them since then. But we'll be having some T-shirts coming up soon. There's one of Rob that is very loud, they kind of play off of our theming, and then we're so those will be out soon. We're getting all the merchandising set up.
Have we released the Josh Peg color yet, or has that not been?
No, Josh's color has not been determined yet.
I'm surprised that it's gone this long. I thought Metal Peg for sure would stick.
It's probably going to go there. Metal Peg probably will be his official peg designation. If I had to guess, but you got to feel it out. You got to let it. Yeah. You got to let it come.
Got to let it breathe and be what it is.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. But speaking of that and the segments, the one thing that I've really been enjoying has been where you've been doing these interview segments and things like that a lot more lately. And obviously, I'm a fan of interviews and the format and getting to know people. So, it's right up my herd alley, as it were. But
as it were. not my favorite blue peg, pink peg phrase, to be honest with you.
I think most of Rob's phrases are not going to be your favorites, right? Pledge finger, herd alley.
No, Click finger's fine. I don't have a problem with that. Yeah, no. I mean, I love Rob. He has a great. He has a great way with words.
Yes, his grasp on the English language is second to none. Absolutely.
Yes.
Awesome. So I think that this is a great place to take our break. We tasked Dan, the game master. He had time. He had all this time down in Ocean City to kind of plan and come up with games, because I made sure he worked on this vacation. So I'm sure he came up with something that's going to be in depth. It's going to last way too long, and it's going to be hysterical all at the same time.
Definitely one of those.
What's that?
Definitely one of those.
One of those. Okay, I'll take one. Batting 33 is not too bad. Not too bad. Yeah. All right, so we'll be right back for our game after this.
Introducing the all-new convenient travel edition of Game All Night. Perfectly sized to fit in your phone or audio device, the Game All Night audio show is now a podcast you can take with you on the go. Featuring the witty repartee you have come to know and love from the video show, but with no distracting pretty sets or guests to get in the way of your listening enjoyment. Now you can play along in the comfort of your car, filling your ear holes with soon-to-be classic episodes and games galore. Find links, news, and episode guides at GameAllNightShow.com. Download yours today.
It's game time!
All right, and we're back for game time. I am here with Mr. Patrick, and then of course we also have Dan joining us for this segment of the evening. Mr. Dan, how we doing? You've been a little quiet tonight.
Yeah, I've been making the evening quite right. You guys have been going to town, so it was easy to let you guys chat us without jumping in.
Fair enough.
But now is my time to take things down a notch. So what we're going to do tonight is, we talked a lot about copyright and fair use. So we're going to play a game of kinship feud, which is utterly
whatever your family unit is, Family Feud.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. Not your traditional 2 and 3.
So
it can be
themed around board games. And so what we're going to do is we're going to start each survey question with a timed opportunity where both of you have a chance to answer. So you're each going to need to buzz in, and whoever buzzes in first will have the first opportunity to provide one of the answers that was given by our survey respondents. Okay. Can we practice this real quick? Can everyone demonstrate for me their... Patrick, can you give me your ding, your buzzer gesture and sound that you'll be buzzing in with?
Just don't hit the microphone.
Door!
What's your... Is that
I'll
your
do
move?
jazz
You
hands.
jazz hands? Okay. We need a noise, too, Chris. We need jazz hands. Okay. All right. That'll work.
That good?
Okay.
That help you out?
It's going to be great.
Or ding, or meow. I don't know.
See, if you keep changing it up, you're just going to confuse the producers here.
There you go. It's all professional here.
So I think we can just jump in. I'm assuming everyone is at least cursorily familiar with the kinship format of the game show.
All right.
The kinship feud.
The kinship disagreement.
It's ready. Take it to the presses. We can market this.
Absolutely. We've designed games on this show. We can do this.
We'll just put it on a little sticky thing to put into your shower, and you got it.
There it is.
It's how all the hot marketing happens.
Look, we know what's up. We know we when it comes to swag, we are the king.
Nice.
Okay, so
all right.
If everyone has their jazz buzzer hands ready, we can do the first survey question. So we asked 100 people who have absolutely never been on BoardGameGeek.com to name a board game that you are never too old to play.
A door.
Who have we got? Who's our winner here? Okay, so Chris, name a board game you're never too old to play.
Candyland.
That is not one of our top. We've got the top 6 answers on the board, and that is not.
And this is from Board Game Geek.
No, this is people who have certainly never been board game.
All right, I just wanted to make sure that the tree I was about to pee on is the right one. That's all.
Yes. So
all right,
we'll get there in time, but we are starting far from our circle of folks. So, Patrick, for the steal here, can you name a board game that you're never too old to play?
Uno.
All right, guys. This is.
Did you not prepare for this eventuality?
So the top 6 answers are on the board.
Board gamers.
There's only like 2,000 board games. All right.
Okay.
So it goes back to me, right?
Yeah. Yes. Chris,
Monopoly?
can you name a board game that you're never too old to play?
Scrabble.
All right, Scrabble is the number 2 answer, so you'll have control of you'll have control of the round. So I'm going to ask you to see if you can name all the answers, all 6 answers, before you get 3 strikes. Each wrong answer is a strike. Once you have gotten 3 strikes, your control of the round is over, and Patrick will have an opportunity to steal. So we have the number 2 answer with Scrabble, with 20% of the respondents. Can you name another board game you're never too old to play?
Well, in honor of Patrick, I will say Monopoly.
Which is number 1 on the charts with 55% of the.
That's why I couldn't take that one. That was too good. Nice.
Okay, so we've got the top 2 answers. There are 6 answers on the board.
So 4 left. Stratego.
Stratego is that's your first first X on this one.
Oh man, Risk.
No, that is a second X here.
Oh.
Let's assume that like this survey may have been done outside of a supermarket or a bingo hall, or that's not a
Rummy.
Okay, that is 3 X's. Chigao. And so if Patrick can name a single one of the remaining 4 answers on the board, you can steal this round and take all the 75 points that Chris has earned so far.
So a board game you are never too old to play.
That's correct.
Okay. I'm gonna say Parcheesi.
Parcheesi, the 6th answer on the board with 2% of our respondents.
Backgammon, one of them?
No, so the remaining answers were number 1 is Monopoly, number 2 Scrabble, number 3 checkers, number 4 chess, and very appropriately number 5 the game of life.
Ooh.
For the record, that game is hot garbage.
Everybody just liked the spinner, let's be honest.
Yeah.
I like the different spaces. Like I never went to college though. Never worked out for me.
In the game, yeah. Well, they've changed it a lot since we our day. Like I've played it since then, and they have changed it up a lot. There's a lot of different like ways to use the cards and stuff. It's still horrible, but
not a lick more fun. But
it throws people into specific roles and stereotypes, and it's great. I'm sure it's great.
Are there still blue pegs and pink pegs in the current edition?
Yeah, there are.
All right.
They look a little different, but they're still there.
And you still drive around in a little car, right?
You do.
Or is it a minivan now?
Ooh. Yeah, it's a Volvo.
Okay. All right. Hey, everybody needs a 6-person convertible. Just saying.
Yeah, for sure.
All right, Mr. Dan.
All right. Now, for our second question, and remember this is back to this is open. This is up for anyone. This is a timed question, so we need somebody to buzz in. Be ready with your buzzer hands. We surveyed 100 people on BoardGameGeek.com to ask them what their favorite theme in a board game is.
A door!
Okay, Patrick, what's your answer for your favorite theme in a board game?
Fantasy.
Fantasy is number 1 with 54% of the respondents.
I think I can. How many? There are 6.
Okay, so we have. Sorry, we surveyed 100 people. The top 6 answers are on the board.
Okay. Space.
Space is number 2. Space and sci-fi.
Would have been what I was going to guess anyway, so I would have been a loser. So.
Yeah. Well, no, it's enough to capture if you're first. But go ahead. All right, we've got fantasy. We've got space. What's next?
I'm trying to think about the games in the top 100.
Good point.
There's a timer here.
Okay. Trading.
Ooh. Okay. We're not going to take trading. I asked the judges. They said that will not be an acceptable answer. So that's your first strike. We have 2 more strikes and 4 more answers on the board.
Okay. Let's say Civ building. Is that a theme, or is that a mechanic?
You know, we're going to take that. We're going to take ancient history was on the board, and then the judges have decided to accept that as.
I would.
Okay.
So that was number 4. So we still have 3 answers. The 3rd, 5th, and 6th are still available.
Okay. Espionage.
No, I'm sorry. Spies, espionage, not one of the top 6 answers.
Okay. Okay. Trading isn't one. I'm gonna say. God, I can't believe this. I'm having a hard time with thinking about themes. Let's see. Mythology.
Mythology, yes, is number 5.
Oh.
Saved there. But now just go right back into the pit. The timer set again.
I know. I don't have my board games in front of me. I'm having a hard time
if you
thinking
could
about
just
it.
turn around to that omnipresent podcaster shelf behind you.
Chaz was doing that a lot, just saying.
Yeah. Colonization?
No, I'm sorry. Judges
Sounded
not
good,
gonna
though.
Take that one. So that is your 3rd strike. So now, Chris, with an opportunity to steal all of the points, which I'll figure out momentarily. Later.
I'm going to go with my heart and say trains.
Ooh, I like where you're.
That's it.
I like where you're coming from. An 18XX fan going with trains, and absolutely not correct.
Ugh.
What?
So
See, come on. I mean, usually we as 18XX people like to jump in and take over these polls.
I would have thought trains. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a good one.
So trains was lower on the board. There were a lot of choices. The remaining 2 answers. Number 3 was medieval history.
Okay.
And number 6 was horror.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Zombies,
Cthulhu.
horror. Yeah.
Yeah,
okay.
Zombies, Cthulhu both fall into that horror.
Yeah. Jeremy would be disappointed.
He would.
We were not green pegging that one.
Okay.
My point.
Think we have time for 2 more of these?
I do. I'm down.
good.
Okay. All right. So.
Jazz hands ready.
Yep. Get them warmed up, and
All that jazz.
once again, we surveyed 100 people on BoardGameGeek.com. We asked them, how do you talk yourself out of purchasing a game?
The door!
I think that's a Patrick. If we count for lag a little bit there, it was very close. Okay, so Mr. Patrick, how do you talk yourself out of purchasing a game?
Not enough money.
No, that's not going to be. While a valid reason, that's not one of the top 4 answers. The top 4 answers, by the way, I did not say are on the board. So, Chris, can you name one of the top 4 answers for how you talk yourself out of purchasing a game?
I have too many unplayed games at home.
The very popular top answer was the shelf of shame.
The shelf of shame defense. Yes, absolutely.
Okay, so Chris, you have control of this round. There are 3 answers left on the board. How do you talk yourself out of purchasing a game?
I already have one that does the same thing.
No, I'm going to say that is not one of our top answers.
I think I'm a kind of a one and done kind of guy then. Because I do, finances are one. I already have it. It would never get played anyway.
I think that was lower on the list, but not one of our top 4 answers. I'm sorry.
What?
Nope.
That's why, I would never buy an area control game because none of my group plays it. So I have 2.
So you have 2 strikes, 3 answers left on the board. Strategies for talking yourself out of purchasing a game.
It's beyond my budget.
Yeah, see, the judges are not accepting either the near miss monetary related answer. So that's your 3rd strike.
Yeah.
Patrick, you
I
have
think
a chance
there's a
to,
money one in there. I just can't can't.
Well, so
Dial it
so
in.
the reason that I often don't buy games, I'm trying to think about how to.
Oh.
It's because Rob will buy it. Is the way that I so like somebody I know is gonna buy it. Someone else will buy it.
This is in fact Dan's number one way to talk himself out of purchasing a game is odds are Chris already has a copy. So.
That's fair.
However, not one of the top four answers we received.
Oh no.
So actually, Chris will get the scant 40 points that were available, but
I'll take it.
He'll maintain his points, and we'll go ahead and double those because we're in the bonus round here. So,
yeah, I like the bonus round.
Good job.
So, but we gotta know what the other answers are.
So the
what are
number
they?
2 answer was look for negative reviews or read more reviews. The number
I don't
3
know. I
answer-
don't come across any negative reviews because every reviewer is just flowery and flowy.
I don't know how good that strategy is, but apparently a popular one. The third answer was our near monetary one was wait for a sale. I'm not going to buy it today because it'll go on sale later.
See, I never feel that way. For me, it's either I have the money for it or I don't. It's not like,
Right.
I mean, price is sometimes a factor. Like I was just complaining about that with the Vital games. And hey, I publicly want to say, like, TC and I said, if Escape Plan came in at like $80, I'd instant back that. It came in right at $80. I'm like, thank you guys. They listened. It's like I don't want to drop another 120 on these games. It gets too much. So
Yeah, it's
thank you.
They raise your mind.
And
by
what
way,
was the last one?
The final answer? No, just buy it. Try all
Buy
the
it anyway.
strategies. Buy it anyway.
I think that's my whole generation when they learned how to use a credit card.
oh man. All right, so what's our last? We have one more, right?
Yep. For the
One
final
more.
round, and we're gonna change up the format here. We will go back and forth and see who can guess the most answers on this list.
Okay.
And the list is, and we'll start. Go ahead. We'll start with you, Patrick. We surveyed 100 Board Game Geek users. We asked them, what are your favorite animals to find or to have in a board game? The top 5 answers are on the board.
Okay. Dogs.
Dogs was number 4. All right, Chris,
that's
can you do
good.
better than number 4?
I'm gonna
Patrick
channel.
says
I'm
dogs.
gonna channel Chris Kirkman. And I'm gonna say camels.
Camel's not one of the top 5 answers.
Sorry, buddy.
So dogs are number 4.
That's right.
Pig. I think pigs.
Pigs, I think, is a strong choice. Not one of the top 5 answers.
What?
No. There's some sleepers in here. So Chris, we still have 4 answers on the board.
Well, see, that's kind of why I went with camel. I thought that was going to be
A good sleep.
But now I'm like, is it anthropomorphic? Are we going to go that whole road? In which case, I would go mice.
Not one of the top 5 answers. So that's a second strike there.
So it's top
Patrick.
5. Top 5.
That's right. The top 5 answers are
And
on
I
the
have
board.
2 strikes.
Okay. Cows.
Moo cow.
Cow, not one of the top answers we have.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I'm
You
just going
guys
through
are
all the.
not.
I'm thinking castles of Burgundy animals here, right? You know.
Okay.
Well, I'm gonna say horsey because
you're running with that ever so successful farm theme that has worked so well so far. So we have exactly one of 5 answers because horses is not among our list
Wow.
see, I want to say obscure things like pandas and
Oh,
dragons
wait, so
and
I bet
here.
you. I bet
No
you
fantasy
cats.
creatures. What was that? Patrick?
Cats.
Cats. Number 1 answer on the board here.
The cats have been kind of hot. There's been a bit of a cats are having a moment in board games, right?
yeah, they're having a moment in the litter box is what they're having. And
I
I'm a
love
cat
them.
person, but
Yeah. Speaking of which,
So
I need to.
we're just cleaning up now.
so what are the other 2?
We
know what they aren't.
The remaining 3 answers on the board. Number 2 was sheep. Going back to one of
The successful
classic
farm
games.
theme you were giving us grief for.
The more sheep than women ratio on box top cover art. You know,
Number
that's one of
3.
I think.
Number 3, rather surprising, was penguins.
Okay.
How old's this list? I mean, hey, that's my fish just came out or
Yeah.
something.
God, it's a good game, though.
I'm a big fan. That's one of my favorites. So and number 5 was elephants.
Elephant.
I'm not sure.
How
this was
did
not-
elephant beat camel?
Yeah,
I'm not sure the elephant fans are like satisfied with what they're getting, their choices out there, but they're out there, they're holding on to hope.
Yeah, I'm like curious where this poll came from. Is it like a company that wants to put animals in games? Or is it the next Monopoly piece? Like, what is it? You know, what's the impetus?
It's Meeple Circus has an elephant in it, right?
Yeah, it has one. Yeah.
I'm trying to think about what other games that I know of that have elephants in them.
Wasn't there a racing game?
Formula
E or something?
Formula E. Yeah, that was a game of salute.
And camels. What's that? Is Yispahan?
Well, that's Through the Desert.
Yeah.
No, right. Yeah.
Yeah, no, there's definitely a lot of camel love, and according to Chris Kirkman, there's not a bad game with camels. So.
Well, and Camel Up obviously has camels.
Oh, Camel Up.
No, I'm sorry, I only recognize Camel Cup.
Camel Cup, yeah.
I'm Camel Up because that C is for both things. That drives me nuts.
Right. Yeah. What other? But though, seriously, what other games have an elephant in them? I mean, are there any others that you guys can think of?
No, I'm stalling. I thought Through the Desert was, but that's camels.
Yeah,
I think there's a new game coming out by Incus and Marcus Brand called Ganji.
Oh, no, it's not coming out. It came out Rajas of the Ganges. We reviewed that game actually.
Yeah, but I don't recall seeing elephants in there.
Well, the first player marker is an elephant.
Okay, yeah, that is true. Okay. All right, so 3 games with elephants. Yeah. So obviously that's an underserved populace.
All right. Well, there you go.
The elephant fans are hungry.
They are. I think the next big elephant game will really break through, lest you forget the problems you may have.
Yeah, excellent. Well, I'm glad. You're welcome, publishers. Yeah. You're welcome.
You're welcome. Jazz hands and Thor are gonna forever be a thing now.
So I'm tallying up the points here, and
how much did I lose by? Is the best question.
In the interest of protecting the egos of all involved, I will simply say that our guest Patrick was victorious today.
I never win any games. I never ever win any games.
Yeah, it's been awesome. So where can people find you if they want to follow you or listen or? Well, I know you're the voice behind Blue Peg Pink Peg on
Twitter. I manage the Twitter handle because Rob and Christina each have their own Twitter handles. But yeah, Blue Peg Pink Peg. Facebook, search us out, Blue Peg Pink Peg. We're on Instagram at Blue Peg Pink Peg. Our website is Blue Peg Pink Peg. So yeah, if you Blue Peg Pink Peg, you'll get us. We're at the top of the Google list when it comes to Blue Peg Pink Peg. But yeah, search us out at Blue Peg Pink Peg, and if you haven't heard the show, give us a listen.
And it's I love it. So if you guys want to check it out, I highly encourage it.
Well, so. I'm glad that you enjoy the show. We have a good time doing it, and we love in all truth, I've said this every time. The best thing about our show is our community.
Absolutely.
Our listeners are to a man just really awesome people, and we're really proud to speak to them and to be a part of them. So we're really, really proud of that.
Awesome. Well, I'm so glad you came on. Thank you very much for showing. Thank you guys for watching. Be sure to check out all of our episodes. Christina was on earlier, I believe episode 7, if I had to put a number on it. And it was a lot of fun as well. So be sure to check that out. Show. Have a good night, and be sure to enjoy yourself when you game all night. Game All Night is proud to be sponsored by Game Toppers. Check them out at GameToppersLLC.com, upgrading your gaming experience. Well, that's a wrap. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed our efforts at comedy and fun, please support us on Podpledge. Be sure to follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And of course, don't forget to engage with us on Board Game Geek Guild 3134. You can also check us out on our website, GameAllNightShow.com. This show has been made possible through supporters like these. Angry Octopus.
Say something.
Say something smart and witty and hope that people don't realize I'm not quoting Shakespeare. I get no respect around here. I tell you.
What are we talking about? Like Blue Peg, Pink Peg, IUDs? I mean, because we get that.
The little peg preventer.
Exactly. If how would we? What would be a?
The peg is in, the peg is out.
Oh, good God. The peg is in, the peg is in, the peg is out, the peg is in, the peg is out, the peg is in, the peg is in. No,
No problem. Have a game.